Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coon. The white man to go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your
Ahmadiyyah.
skin?
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so let's get ready to get into it. Okay, hello, DJ Big Six, Claudette, Skeletor fan. All right, Nene, Chili Willie from Philly is in the virtual building. Shawshana. All right, Andrea is here. Loya is in the virtual building. Charlene. All right, Paul Parody. Okay. We the People is here. Desmond. All right, Queen Amoni Huey. Let's get into it. Shout out to all of my Lord Worlds and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators, because you all know they keep putting in work. Okay, hey, Emperor Rex. Now, before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. Let's get ready to get into it. So you all know Ghislaine Maxwell is supposed to be testifying before Congress. Now, I'm pretty sure that she's simply going to plead the fifth and not give up any details or receipts, okay? Because the bottom line is, she's been given benefits, in my opinion, okay, after that meeting with Todd Blanche. Remember, she was whisked away to a cozy prison, Club Fed. Well, now they've come out and said that people are complaining. They said that Miss Ghislaine Maxwell is getting preferential treatment, Okay, I want you all to pay attention. They said she's getting preferential treatment. Okay, and we know why that is. Okay, that's all because of the meeting with Todd Blanche and the hopes that she won't say anything about the nefariousness that Trump was likely involved in with the Epstein situation. Now, I'm going to go to this video, House Committee to depose Ghislaine Maxwell as part of the Epstein probe. All right, this is CBS, their report, so let's get into it.
To Capitol Hill, where the House Oversight Committee is set to hear from Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. But according to Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna, she plans to plead the Fifth. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman is here with me in studio to discuss what we might see today. Katrina, good morning. This is interesting because everyone has the right to plead the Fifth, so help us understand what we might expect and why she might invoke that right.
Errol, so what we're expecting is for Ghislaine Maxwell to read a blanket statement pleading the Fifth. So essentially not allow any of the members to question her and just say outright that she's going to be asserting that. That's your right against self-incrimination. What she had wanted was to get some sort of immunity in exchange for testimony here. She also has some ongoing legal proceedings. She filed this habeas petition in December. So what her lawyer said is that they didn't want this deposition to happen while that's still going on. So essentially, we don't expect to get a lot out of today, but they set this deposition anyways. We don't know that she's actually going to end up saying anything at all because of pleading the Fifth.
Now, despite President Trump saying this is a hoax, there's nothing here, the general public seems to not be able to get enough from the files that have been released. And I understand today Congress can begin viewing the unredacted Epstein files. What might emerge from that?
I mean, we don't know, but what they're going to be scrutinizing is all of these redactions because, you know, we talked a lot about how all these women's names were not redacted, but there were tons of pages that were just completely blacked out here. So they want to look, they want to see what information is there. Does it actually comply with the act and the way these redactions are supposed to happen? Is this information that is in fact supposed to be not revealed to the public? So they'll have access, I believe, to computers where they can go and look at these documents, take notes, and make an assessment here.
All right, we'll keep a watch on this. Katrina, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so hold on, beloveds. I'm sorry. I just saw something pop up, so we're going to go to that also. They're talking about the unredacted Epstein forms. This came out 18 minutes ago. Okay, we know Congress is going to see them. And speaking of Epstein, you know, someone created an email where you can go to it, and it's like you're literally inside of Jeffrey Epstein's emails.
All right, so let's begin this morning with those new developments concerning the Epstein files. Moments ago, unredacted versions of the evidence in the convicted sex offenders case were made available to members of Congress. More than 3 million files have been released by the Justice Department so far, with a lot more on the way. So let's head over to Capitol Hill now and find CBS News congressional reporter Torian Small. So Torian, break down what this release is all about and how it's working and who's going in to take a look at these unredacted files.
Yeah, Vlad, so what we know is that the Department of Justice is allowing lawmakers to take a look at those unredacted files per their request. So if a lawmaker asks to give viewing to this, they have about a 24-hour window that the DOJ would allow them to come in and take a look at these files. This comes as many lawmakers across the aisle express their discomfort with the Trump administration slow-walking the release of these Epstein files as part of a law that they passed. This was a bipartisan.
Okay, we already know all of that. I'm going to go ahead because here's the thing. There's breaking news. Okay, this just came out. Absolutely. Ghislaine Maxwell didn't say a darn thing, just like we knew she wouldn't. So why did they even waste time bringing her there? You know, this is just her getting a free day from prison. Okay? That's all that is. Because do you think they're going to take her right back to lockup? I doubt it. All right. She's been given certain allowances, so she'll probably get to hang out for most of today. Go get something to eat, sit somewhere and relax nice and cushy, and then back to the cell she goes. I'm willing to bet money on it. Okay. Please pay attention.
Ready?
As expected, Ghislaine Maxwell took the fifth and refused to answer any questions. This obviously is very disappointing. We had many questions to ask about the crimes she and Epstein committed, as well as questions about potential co-conspirators. We sincerely want to get to the truth of the American people and justice for the survivors. That's what this investigation is about. I want to mention the next steps. We can confirm we have 5 more depositions in the book scheduled for the Epstein investigation. On February 18th, Lex Wexner, who was a financial client of Epstein and I believe the former CEO of Victoria's Secret. February 26th, we have former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. February 27th, former President Bill Clinton. March 11th, Richard Kahn, Epstein's accountant. And March 19th, Darren Endike, Epstein's lawyer. So we will continue to move forward and try to get answers for the American people.
So, Britain's royal family, do you think that Britain's royal family has questions to answer to your committee?
Well, we would love to hear, from anyone. Obviously, I can't subpoena in foreign countries, or I would have done that in the Biden investigation. But do you have anything to add, Andy?
I'll just add one thing that the attorney for Ms. Maxwell said that she has no indication and would say that neither Presidents Trump or Clinton are culpable for any wrongdoing. And that's one thing they said in his opening statement to us today.
Was Ghislaine Maxwell put under pressure to stay silent? Was Ghislaine Maxwell put under pressure to stay silent today?
Well, I have no idea.
Is that your suspicion?
How would I have no idea. I mean, she was given an opportunity. We would have brought her in months ago, but she's indicated she was going to plead the fifth. And unfortunately, she had an opportunity today to answer questions that every American has, questions that would be very important in this investigation, and she chose to invoke her Fifth Amendment rights.
Mr. Chairman, clarify what her lawyer said about President Trump and Clinton, and do you think that there's anything more to do with Ghislaine Maxwell now that she pled the fifth?
You correct me if I'm wrong. Just to be clear, what her attorney said, Maxwell didn't say. Her attorney said that she would answer questions if she were granted clemency by the
President Trump,
and that she went on to say about Clinton and
but he went on to expand that. The other thing is he pointed out a number of times that she has a habeas corpus petition pending for a new trial and release, and that's why she is not going to answer questions.
Mr. Chairman. I know that those conversations are ongoing. They would like them to be public. Is your understanding still that we're looking at those same February dates and they're going to be private?
Yeah, that's what they agreed to. And they will be public, just like this will be public, hopefully very soon. We've released every transcript and every video and audio of every deposition we've done since I've been chairman of the committee.
Mr. Chairman, does the committee have any plans to subpoena Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, given the revelations?
We're going to try to get these 5 nailed down. We've got a lot of very important people we're trying to bring in to answer questions. We don't want to do anything to jeopardize the 5 that we have on the books.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and call cap. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call cap. We're not going to ever likely get to the bottom of this. Okay, and it's really sad and unfortunate. Okay, now, we all knew she wasn't going to say anything because she said it months ago, as they say. But let's talk about how she's getting this preferential treatment according to sources in prison, because ET actually did a report on this. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get into it. Now I'm going to put up an overlay.
Specially prepared meals, bottled water, a dog to play with. Fellow inmates are claiming that Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, is getting special treatment behind bars. This comes as the feds release 3 million pages from the Epstein files.
Is Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend getting special treatment behind bars? There's growing outrage over reported perks being handed to Ghislaine Maxwell, now serving 20 years for child sex trafficking.
Does it sound like she's getting special treatment to you?
I know for a fact she's getting special treatment.
Les Trent spoke to Sam Mangle, a prison consultant who has 3 clients at the same facility as Maxwell, the Bryan Federal Prison Camp in Texas.
Whether it's access to a laptop computer, which is unheard of, to visits where they lock down the camp and no one can leave their bunks while she's having visitors.
Allegations of other perks, according to the New York Times, include meals being delivered to her cell and being served bottled water while other inmates drink tap water, playing with service dogs, showering alone, and watching TV alone in staff-only areas. They even provided her with an umbrella to shade her from the hot Texas sun while she took her daily walks.
She's been given the freedom and liberties that the other inmates do not have.
Last July, Maxwell was moved from a medium security prison in Florida to the minimum security camp in Texas. This followed her meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. According to reports, fellow inmates at the facility were threatened with solitary confinement or transferred to a tougher penitentiary if they voiced complaints about Maxwell's perks.
They've been told from the day she got there, do not discuss her, do not put anything in writing, do not talk about her on the phone, do not make any trouble regarding Miss Maxwell, or we will move you to another location.
Maxwell is scheduled to testify by video from prison for the House Oversight Committee as part of its probe of the Epstein investigation. Her lawyers say she is most likely to plead the Fifth.
Isn't that something? Okay, she's getting all these perks, and meanwhile, other people are being censored, silenced, and threatened. Okay? I find it all so interesting. Okay, so anyway, let's continue. And here's the thing. Virginia Giuffre, not Virginia Giuffre, Ghislaine Maxwell wanted to get a pardon and all of that. She needs to stay in prison forever. She should have gotten more than 20 years as far as I'm concerned. Okay, because let's not forget how before her passing, her demise, Virginia Giuffre said that Ghislaine
this morning
was actually the mastermind. Okay, Ghislaine Maxwell was actually the mastermind is what Virginia says. Okay, let's get into it.
We are hearing from one of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims. Her name is Virginia Roberts Giuffre. In her first interview since Ghislaine Maxwell was denied bail this week, Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. Now, this is the first time that Maxwell has faced criminal charges in connection with Epstein, despite accusations against her that extend back more than 2 decades now. Giuffre claims Maxwell, along with Epstein, recruited, groomed, and abused her. She lives in Australia now. She's married with 3 children, and we talked to her yesterday. She told us that she thinks Ghislaine Maxwell should spend the rest of her life behind bars.
She is a monster. She's worse than Epstein. She did things even worse than Epstein did. She was vicious, she was evil, and she's a woman.
Her lawyers have said Ghislaine Maxwell is not a Jeffrey Epstein, that she has been a victim of media spin.
They're doing their job, but I know that woman. I've known her really well. Put it this way. Epstein was Pinocchio and she was Geppetto. She was the guy controlling
the strings.
Jeffrey. Yep, she was pulling the strings. She had his money. He had her contacts, but Ghislaine was much more conniving and smart than Epstein ever was.
Virginia Roberts Giuffre says she first met Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell when she was just 16 and alleges that she was forced to have sex with Britain's Prince Andrew on 3 separate occasions. She was 17 at the time. He has denied that and says it's possible this picture with his arm around her waist was doctored.
Is there any way you could have had sex with that young woman or any young woman trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein in any of his residences?
No.
Prince Andrew should be panicking. He knows he's guilty. He needs to be held accountable. We need to show the world that the rich and the mighty can fall too.
Do you think that Ghislaine's life is in danger?
Absolutely. If she squeals on some of the people that she has videos on, they won't be happy with her talking about that.
And when you say that she has videos or she has knowledge of videos that exist about people like who? People well-known names?
Very well-known names, the government officials, the politicians, the royalty, they were taping everybody every moment when you walked into the New York mansion, to Palm Beach. Everything was being filmed.
Do you think people knew they were being taped?
No.
No.
I do not. Not at all.
Giuffre alleges Maxwell and Epstein were blackmailing the wealthy and the powerful. She says Maxwell's arrest marked a major turning point in the fight for justice.
Today, we announced charges against Ghislaine Maxwell for helping Jeffrey Epstein sexually exploit and abuse multiple minor girls.
It was just surreal. It was momentous. It's one of those life moments that I'll never forget.
Virginia, how did you meet her and what was her pitch to you?
I'm working at Mar-a-Lago, loving it. I'm working in the spa area. I was reading about anatomy and massage, and that's when Ghislaine came up to me and said, "Oh my God, you're reading a book about massage." And, long story short, she told me that she knew of a man who was looking for a traveling masseuse. And if he liked me, then I would get educated and I would become a real massage therapist. So yeah, it was a dream of a lifetime until I got there, and the abuse was immediate.
It has been reported that they would prey on young girls who were vulnerable.
She could smell the vulnerability on a person. I told them a little bit about my past and how I'd been abused. So immediately it was like the Cheshire smile is what I call it. And I asked her, I said, "Why are you having all these girls come in and sleep with your boyfriend?" And she was like, "So I don't have to do it all the time." So she made like a joke out of it.
Why do you think she did it?
She did it to keep Jeffrey happy, for sure. She did it because she loves the control over people. Jeffrey was a sick pedophile, but she was the mastermind.
What would justice look like for you when it comes to Ghislaine Maxwell?
I would like to see Ghislaine stay in jail forever. I'd like her to apologize for what she's done to me and so many others.
When Jeffrey Epstein took his own life, many of the victims/survivors felt that they had been robbed, that they did not get their day in court.
It would have been great to look at him in court and say, you hurt me, you took away my innocence, you took away my youth, but he took that away from us too. I'm really hoping we get to do this with Ghislaine.
Does the buck stop with Ghislaine Maxwell, in your opinion?
No, the buck stops when every single monster gets held accountable and our children are safe. Not just my monsters, but all the monsters. And we need everyone's help.
Maxwell has pleaded not guilty to the charges against her and denies any wrongdoing. Virginia Roberts Giuffre's claims are not part of this indictment. Maxwell's attorneys declined to comment on her accusations.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account.
Okay, sorry, beloveds. I'm multitasking. I'm multitasking at the same time. Now, with that all being said, this is absolutely why she need not ever get out of prison. Okay, she was the mastermind. At the end of the day, and here's the thing, the women usually are. The women usually are. Because first of all, women are smarter in most cases and more conniving than men. Now, that's just my opinion. Okay. And so with that all been said, yeah, she probably was setting all of this stuff up. She probably was the mastermind. Okay. So anywho, with that all being said, she needs to stay exactly where she is, and her getting special privileges just really ticks me off. Okay. Because she should not be getting anything as far as I'm concerned. Now let's continue. I'm going to go, to my X account. And then we have to talk about how the DOJ is trying to tell us that Jeffrey Epstein didn't have any trafficking ring for wealthy men. What are y'all talking about? Sure, he was a trafficker, but there was no S ring. Okay, please pay attention. The lies continue. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah Shakur. Now, in the Epstein files, a limo driver gave a tip to the FBI, basically saying that he knew of a woman who says that she was R-worded by Epstein and Donald Trump, and then she was found deceased in her car. Let's get into it. Now, the limo driver says that he had a talk with this woman when she told him this information about Trump and Epstein. He advised her to go to the police. She said, if I do that, they're going to take me out. But then later on Christmas Day, he said that she reached out to him and told him that she had, in fact, gone to the police and filed a report about what they had discussed. And he told her that she had done good. Please pay attention. Whistleblower says that the woman told him she was taken to a fancy hotel by some woman with a funny name. That's how she ended up with Jeffrey Epstein and Trump. Allegedly. Now, a woman with a funny name. I wonder if that was Ghislaine Maxwell. Please pay attention. The last time the whistleblower spoke to the woman was Christmas Day. And then days later, January the 10th of 2000, he got word that she was found in her car deceased with a G-shot wound and that her top had been blown off. Okay, police on the scene said there was no way it was self-deletion, but then the coroner ruled it self-deletion. Please pay attention. Wanting to do my due diligence, I reached out to the Kiefer Police Department because this happened in Kiefer, Oklahoma. I was told that basically because of the heavily redacted files, it was darn near impossible to verify the claims or even connect them to specific local records. Please pay attention. I think this is all by design. The current chief of police said that there's no current evidence of any criminal activity in the town being linked to the files. The DOJ says that these allegations, which were submitted right before the 2020 election, are unfounded, untrue, and sensationalist. Well, I wouldn't expect them to say anything other than that. Okay, please pay attention. Now, this case remains a point of contention between the official reports of it being a self-deletion and the whistleblower's allegations that it was red rum, and this is a whole cover-up. Okay, please pay attention. I think that the excessive redactions are done purposely to keep us from putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together and figuring out certain things. I also think that the DOJ is purposely putting in misinformation, okay, and lies and BS just to confuse us. You know, like the devil does, okay, because the devil mixes lies with the truth to confuse you. And I think that's absolutely what they're doing, because why is there pictures of Post Malone with women in the files and the women are blocked out as though something nefarious were going on? When you look at his social media post from 2018, the women are adults and there's nothing nefarious going on. They're just sitting on a couch. But that's to basically imply something nefarious. And then you can go back and they can debunk it and say, no, they weren't doing anything. You see what I'm saying? This is to destroy the credibility of the files, in my opinion, so that we don't believe any of it and feel like it's all just misinformation and lies and sensationalists. Please pay attention. Beautiful young lady that lost her life was Dusty Rhea Duke. May she rest in peace. Okay, that victim was 19 years old. She was 19 years old, and they say, the DOJ, that these claims are unsubstantiated, unfounded, this, that, and the third. But, you know, I don't put anything past Trump. I mean, this is the first time we've heard that he's had someone taken out. And his ignorant MAGA minions keep trying to say that everything's been debunked. They are so stupid. I guarantee you that none of them have read any of the Epstein files. Okay, they don't want to read them. They went and actually made t-shirts that said, I don't care if Trump is a PDF file. Okay, that's what they did. I want you all to pay attention. These people have no morals. Okay, they have no morals at all. And then here's the thing. When they talk about, you know, America's values and this isn't who we are, it's absolutely who you are. Okay, it's who you've always been. Like, they convinced me with it. At the end of the day, I find it all so nefarious, okay? But here's the thing. So they came out and said that there is, in fact, no S ring, okay, for wealthy men. Jeffrey didn't have one. I find it interesting. So let's talk about it. FBI concluded Jeffrey Epstein wasn't running an S trafficking ring for powerful men. Files show. Okay, so they say the FBI pored over Jeffrey Epstein's bank records and emails. It searched his homes. It spent hours, okay? It spent years interviewing his victims and examining his connections to the world's most influential people. But while investigators collected ample proof that Epstein sexually abused underage girls, they found scant evidence the well-connected financier led a S trafficking ring serving powerful men. Okay, and Associated Press review of Internal Justice Department records shows, right? So they're saying this is what's going on. There's nothing to see here, folks. Y'all need to go on and find something else to look at. Videos and photos seized from Epstein's homes in New York, Florida, and the Virgin Islands didn't depict victims being abused or implicate anyone else in his crimes, according to a prosecutor's memo, okay, from 2025. An examination of Epstein's financial records, including payments that he made to entities linked to influential figures in academia, finance, and global diplomacy, found no connection to criminal activity. This is what another internal memo said from 2019. Now, while one Epstein victim made highly public claims that he lent her to his rich friends, agents couldn't confirm that and found no other victims telling a similar story. Are they serious right now? They found no other victims telling a similar story? What are they talking about? Of course they said, of course there are similar stories. These people, plenty of them said they were trafficked. Now, just because they didn't use the words lent, okay, are they serious right about now? I find this all so egregious. Summarizing the investigation in an email last July, agents said four or five Epstein accusers claimed other men or women had sexually abused them, but the agent said there was not enough evidence to federally charge those individuals, so the cases were referred to local law enforcement. Now, the AP and other media organizations are still reviewing millions of pages of documents, many of them previously confidential, that the Justice Department released under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and it is possible those records contain evidence overlooked by investigators. Even if they saw evidence, they're not going to say anything about it. But the documents, which include police reports, FBI interview notes, and prosecutor emails, provide the clearest picture to date of the investigation and why U.S. authorities ultimately decided to close it without additional charges. So the Epstein investigation began in 2005 when the parents of a 14-year-old girl reported she had been molested with an M at the millionaire's home in Palm Beach, Florida. Now, police would identify at least 35 girls with similar stories. Epstein was paying high school age girls $200 to $300 to give him sexualized massages. Now, after the FBI joined the probe, federal prosecutors drafted indictments to charge Epstein and some personal assistants as well who had arranged the girls' visits and payments. But instead, then Miami U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta struck a deal, letting Epstein plead guilty to state charges of soliciting prostitution from an underage girl, and he was sentenced to 18 months in jail. Epstein was free by mid-2009. Okay? And then, of course, we know he was arrested again in 2019. Okay, so they're telling us right to our faces there's nothing to see here, folks. Okay, nothing to see here. I find it all interesting. And I don't believe a word of it that they didn't find anything in his bank accounts, okay, in his banking records or any of that stuff. I just don't believe it. So anyway, let's continue. Now let's talk about, hold on. Let's get into this backlash that Trump is still experiencing from his nasty little racist post about Michelle and Barack Obama. This is a report from ABC from 3 hours ago. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
After posting a blatantly racist depiction of former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama as apes, President Trump says he will not apologize.
A number of Republicans are calling on you to apologize for that post. Is that something you're going to do?
No, I didn't make a mistake.
He told reporters on Air Force One he condemns the imagery. Our Fritz Farrow asking what his message is to Americans who are offended.
What do you want to tell us? I have no message. I didn't know about it, so I mean, it went up. I really have no message.
The White House initially defended the post, calling the criticism fake outrage, but the backlash only grew. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, the Senate's only Black Republican, calling the president's post the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. Senator Roger Wicker of Mississippi writing, "This is totally unacceptable." The video was originally posted at 11:44 p.m. on Thursday. The president deleted it 12 hours later. After initially defending the post, the administration then put out a new statement telling ABC News a White House staffer erroneously made the post. The president, who is ultimately responsible for his social media account, claimed he didn't watch the video until the end.
I looked at it, I saw it, and I just looked at the first part.
Over on Capitol Hill, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle demanding an apology.
He definitively needs to apologize. It was a disgusting video.
I think sometimes in our public discourse, it is best to just say, I'm sorry.
The post is just the latest in a long history of offensive comments made by the president. For years, he falsely claimed President Barack Obama wasn't born in the United States. and also questioned the racial identity of his former rival, former Vice President Kamala Harris. The White House has not said who the staffer is or whether they will face consequences. As for the Obamas, they have decided not to comment. Guys, how do you?
Okay, if I were them, I wouldn't comment either. Okay, what do you need to say? Everyone sees exactly who he is. Now, with that all being said, we know that he's absolutely lying, right? No one's on his social media account who would dare to do that. And also, if someone had, like I told you all days ago, how come they didn't walk that person out, drag them out, fire them like they did Omarosa? Okay, they snatched her up out of there and dragged her out of the White House real quick. All right. So why didn't they do that? Why didn't they release the picture, the name of the person? Let us know who did it. Well, because Trump's the one who absolutely did it. And here's how you know he did it. First of all, it's his account. But second of all, it was up for 12 hours. And we all know darn well that Trump does not take 12 hours to post on social media. Okay. So it was up there for 12 hours. If he was really not the one who did it, he would have immediately taken it down and tried to find out who did. Okay, he wouldn't just come out with this made up story that they clearly concocted after everyone started going in on them. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's continue because I find it interesting that Jack Lang is resigning due to the Epstein files. France's former culture minister resigns over Epstein-linked tax fraud investigation. So, France's former culture minister Jack Lang has resigned as head of the Paris Cultural Center over alleged past financial links to convicted ex-offender Jeffrey Epstein. This prompted a tax investigation. Now, here's what I'm talking about. I need y'all to pay attention or you'll miss things. So didn't they just say, okay, that there was no financial ties, okay, to these wealthy, powerful men or any of those things? But then tell me why the French cultural minister, Jack Lang, has been alleged to have past financial links to convicted ex-offender Jeffrey Epstein that prompted a whole tax investigation. He's the highest profile figure in France, impacted by the release of the Epstein files on January the 30th by the U.S. Department of Justice. He is known for his role as a cultural minister under socialist president Francois Mitterrand in the 1980s and 90s. Lang, who's now 86 years old, was summoned to appear at the French Foreign Ministry, which oversees the Arab World Institute. Now, he was told to be there on Sunday, but instead, he submitted his resignation. He is very sad and deeply hurt to be leaving a position he loves. This is what his attorney, Laurette Merlot, said Sunday on RTL radio. He put the interest of the Arab World Institute first. Okay, and he added that his client denied the allegations and called them inaccurate. So the foreign minister confirmed his resignation Saturday evening. The financial prosecutor's office said it had opened an investigation into Lang and his daughter Caroline over alleged aggravated tax fraud laundering. French investigative news website Mediapart reported last week on alleged financial and business ties between the Lang family and Jeffrey Epstein through an offshore account. Okay, an offshore company based in the U.S. Virgin Islands in the Caribbean Sea. So I'm sorry, how did the feds not find this? Okay, how did they not find this? They didn't check his accounts in the Virgin Islands because they know that he has a whole island over there. Okay, and after all, it is a part of the United States, lest we forget. Okay, do y'all see what they're doing here? Do y'all see what they're doing? I find it all so interesting. But let's continue. And so also, they've been told to halt the investigation on Renee Good. Now, there's no surprise. That's no surprise. Okay, they say, the DHS basically says they're going to halt it. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Welcome back. The federal government ordered federal prosecutors to halt a civil rights investigation into the fatal shooting of Renee Good by a federal agent in Minneapolis. That's according to new reporting in the New York Times.
investigators had obtained a warrant to search Good's SUV, but FBI agents were told to stop after senior Justice Department officials intervened. Sources tell the Times that leaders in Washington feared the investigation would contradict President Trump's claim that Good deliberately attacked the officer with her car. The decision triggered resignations by several career prosecutors in Minnesota, plunging the U.S. Attorney's Office into crisis as it faces a surge of immigration-related cases. Let's bring in Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut. He is a member of the Judiciary on Homeland Security Committee. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. First, let's just start with your reaction to this news. They had obtained a warrant to go in the SUV to bullet holes, blood spatter from Ms. Good, and were told not to by senior officials, including FBI Director Patel. That's according to the Times. Don't do this because it would upset Donald Trump.
I was aghast when I saw this report, and it's very credible, sadly and tragically, about this Justice Department, because they have so degraded the professionalism that I revered when I was United States Attorney for Connecticut and then as State Attorney General. The kind of reputation for objective and independent investigation has been completely decimated by this administration. And what is so really repugnant about what was done here is that evidence is the coin of the realm for prosecution. We want proof beyond a reasonable doubt based on
and by the way, not even allowing them to collect the physical evidence or start the investigation just to see what happened. But doesn't that sound like a cover-up?
It is a cover-up, and that's what's going on in Minneapolis.
Can you guys, in these negotiations, stop these cover-ups and require that they actually, when somebody is shot at point-blank range through the side of their window, through their skull, that DHS and the Trump administration can't get in the way of those investigations? Don't we Americans need to know what happened?
Americans need to know what is happening, but they know enough right now to demand reforms. And that's what we're fighting to do. We have 10 simple, straightforward reforms that American people are demanding.
What about masks? Are we going to get past having secret police? Because these are secret police. This is what we saw in the old Soviet Union. It's what we see today in Russia. It's what we saw in Warsaw Pact countries. You didn't see it in the West. Are we going to get rid of them? And I understand it's a balance. We need to protect those in ICE from being doxxed. I totally get that. But there has to be a balance. We can't have secret police in America. I mean, cops in New York City don't wear masks.
Secret police make us less safe. Minneapolis is less safe because of those masked agents. Masks off, identification and body cameras on, a code of conduct about excessive use of force. Again, all of these reforms are simply what local police, whether it's in New York or anywhere in the country, have to do as basic requirements, and an end to the roving dragnet arrests. If you're going to break into somebody's home or a doctor's office or a church, you need a judicial warrant. And
like the Constitution says, by the way, like
the Constitution says, and like any local police force, whether it's New York or anywhere else, require. And here's what I think is most important: enforcement. Most of my career, I've done enforcement, whether U.S. Attorney or State Attorney General. And I think what we need is a monitor, an independent monitor for the Department of Homeland Security, and a right of people to go to court.
Right.
When their rights are violated.
Senator, as the negotiations are down to the wire in terms of funding, is this enough leverage to force some of these changes that you're talking about in terms of making sure that there's accountability, that there's visibility when you talk about face masks and all, with the Department of Homeland Security and with ICE? Or are we just going to get to the brink and then back up again and let this go through and fund this as it is, which clearly violates a lot of people's rights?
I'll speak for myself, Reverend. I won't vote for any funding for DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, or ICE, or the Customs Border Patrol, unless these demands are met. Not that they're my demands, the American people are demanding. And Republicans need to listen to the American people who've been watching the hearing that I led just this last week. A woman on her way to church to donate clothing, shot 7 times because she was stopped at an ICE checkpoint. A woman in Minneapolis, disabled woman, dragged from her car, denied medical care. A young man in California, his car shot numerous times. He narrowly escaped injury and death. These kinds of incidents are all over the country. Americans are beginning to understand that any of us, anytime, anywhere, can be subject to this kind of brutal violence and inhumanity. And that's why I think Republicans need to listen to their constituents. If they do, they will come to the table. Right now, they are completely unresponsive. We've given them these proposals in writing with text for a bill on each of them. And the Republicans have, in effect, been rubber stamping Noam, Miller, Trump.
Well, I mean,
Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm reading some of these comments. Y'all are something else. Okay, y'all are something else. Carthage says they're wearing masks because it's really Israel and the KKK. Okay, Queen Amona Hewitt says both Renee and Alex are getting the N-word treatment. Damn, doesn't feel good, does it? Well, that's absolutely what they gave them. That's absolutely what they gave them. Now, here's the thing. This just came in 25 minutes ago. Elon Musk, I want you all to pay attention, who's mentioned numerous of times in the Epstein files, by the way, has come out and said that he offers to pay the defense fees of anyone who speaks the truth about Epstein and is sued. What? Let's get into it, because what is he talking about? There's got to be a catch, okay? There's got to be a catch. He's just trying to make us think that he didn't have any involvement in any of the shenanigans, perhaps. Or is this just his way to see who's willing to come out and what they are going to say? Okay? So what do you all think about that? What do you all think about that? Elon is trying to line people up and turn them over to his friends in high places, says Jay Gray. That's what I think. Okay, he's not slick. That's exactly what I think. He wants to know who's willing to come forward and what they have to say. Okay? And then we'll hear some story about they turned up deleted and that it was self-inflicted. That's how that narrative usually goes, right? Find it also interesting. But what's even more interesting is the fact that the Epstein files have reached all the way over to the UK. Okay, they've reached all the way over to the UK, and there's plenty of fallout, okay, from the highest levels of UK society. Let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. And then after this, we got to talk about Bad Bunny because Trump is so mad, so butthurt, so bent out of shape. Okay, he is such an adolescent. He doesn't act like an adult.
The huge dump of files in the Jeffrey Epstein case have been shocking on a number of levels. You've got famous, wealthy, powerful people corresponding with someone who, in many cases, was a convicted sex offender at the time. In some of these emails, Epstein, who is known to have trafficked women and girls, invites friends to get-togethers with partygoers who he makes clear are many years their junior. And yet, while some of this has prompted embarrassment, distancing, in some cases resignations in the business world, there have not been a ton of clear-cut consequences for the Americans on the other end of these emails. In the UK, though, it is quickly becoming a different story. In fact, there is a non-zero chance this could threaten a royal family and a prime minister's political power. ABC's chief international correspondent James Longman joins us from London. James, we talked about sort of the U.S. angle in a lot of these stories, but we're seeing huge impacts in the U.K., right? Can you just walk me through it?
Absolutely. Every part of the British establishment. You have the head of state, the king, and the head of government, the prime minister, both under pressure for different reasons. Let's start with Andrew, the prince formerly known as. We've now seen this new tranche of Epstein files released, and it looks like that has sped up Andrew's banishment. He has been removed from Royal Lodge, this 30-room mansion he lived on the Windsor estate. We were told this would happen in early 2026, but it does feel to me at least that this has been moved forward because of this image which has circulated. It's been on every single newspaper here for days, of Andrew leaning over a young woman who is lying on the floor. Her identity has been redacted, but it feeds into this idea that Andrew was a predator of some description, was working alongside Epstein. The dirt, the stench of scandal, he just cannot escape it. The royal family are hoping that he goes and lives out in the countryside, away from the cameras. He's going to live on the king's private estate in Sandringham, which the palace is very keen to explain to us he is paying for. This is not public money. But look, there's real pressure now on Andrew to testify.
The UK Prime Minister calling for him to now testify before Congress.
The big question now for Charles, and he was literally asked this question this week, he was heckled. Can Charles force Andrew to do that?
This is the only way to make it clear to people that Andrew should not be let off.
This is incredibly uncomfortable. Also for Sarah, the former Duchess of York, the ex-wife of Andrew, but they live together at Royal Lodge. She also has some uncomfortable reading in this latest tranche of emails. Specifically, it seems that she's kind of desperately asking Epstein for money. She suggests to him perhaps even that he could give her a job to organize his houses. She calls him her pillar, that he's something of a brother to her. She says that she's alone and traumatized. And so she too has now been ostracized. She has lost her own charity, which has been rolled up as a result of these latest revelations. So this is really tricky for the royal family. And Andrew might be tucked away in that farm in the countryside, but there's every chance that he'll be forced to testify, if not in person, then via Zoom.
Right. Although, like you said, that pressure would have to come from his family. It's not like a legal requirement. But the people you're describing so far, James, these are people who had been corresponding with Epstein on some level, right? That's confirmed. It's not a given that it's an admission of guilt. It's not necessarily verified, but it is confirmed that they were going back and forth with him. Well, you also have pressure with the Prime Minister of the UK, who is not known to be corresponding with Epstein, and yet he's still having to answer for his actions anyway. Why?
Yeah, so we should be clear. Keir Starmer is not alleged to have done any wrongdoing. He hasn't been in touch with Jeffrey Epstein, but he appointed someone called Peter Mandelson to be the British ambassador to the United States.
I mean, there is yet more we can do in reducing tariffs and trade barriers so as to open up our markets to each other even more than we're agreeing to do today.
This is someone who's been on the political scene for years. He's credited with building the new Labour movement alongside Tony Blair. And Keir Starmer made him British ambassador to the US in 2024, thinking that he was the kind of person who was going to be able to do a deal with Donald Trump. Britain very much needs a trade deal with the United States. This guy, this political actor, Peter Mandelson, he was the guy to do it. Now it's emerged in this latest tranche of files that Peter Mandelson may have leaked sensitive market information to Jeffrey Epstein in 2009 when Mandelson was business secretary in the UK. He was part of the Labour government back then too. So British police are now investigating that. The idea that you had someone at the top of British politics who was using his position to not only enrich himself, but enrich a person who by that time had already been implicated for sex crimes with minors is political dynamite.
Mandelson betrayed our country, our parliament, and my party.
So Keir Starmer is being asked to explain what he knew and when before appointing Peter Mandelson.
He lied repeatedly to my team when asked about his relationship with Epstein before and during his tenure as ambassador.
He's apologized to the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Mandelson has lost his title in the House of Lords. He's being forced to step back from that. And of course, he's facing these criminal charges. But it has left the Prime Minister exposed, fighting for his political life. There's not a suggestion he's going to quit today or tomorrow, but he was already very weak, Brad.
Wow, but wait, just to be clear, we're talking about like actual resignation concerns, not just like, oh, it could be weekend.
Absolutely. Wow. Because his Labour Party, whilst they won a huge majority at the election, have basically been seen to be failing in government. He's gone from scandal to scandal, from U-turn to U-turn. There doesn't seem to be much vision, his critics would say. And the issue that he has is not just that his political opponents believe him to be weak. The issue might be that members of his own party start to ask for him to resign, and then he may not have any way back. It feels to most people watching this that we could be in the death throes of Keir Starmer's political career. And those inside the Labour Party may feel that this Epstein scandal has given them the ammunition they need to get rid of him.
All right, James Longman, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Brad.
All right. So that all being said, let's talk about Trump and his whole, attitude that he had, because Bad Bunny performed at the Super Bowl, and he really is butthurt. But I'm not surprised. And also, we caught him watching it. Okay, just so you all know, that was reported also. That Trump, I called him Chump. Trump actually watched Bad Bunny's performance. Well, we knew he did because he had to give his response on it, or we know that he gave a response on it, but he literally had it playing at his own party. Okay. That's what he did. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go.
Everyone, I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah Shakur. Now, there's a whole lot of talk about Bad Bunny's halftime performance at the Super Bowl and Kid Rock's performance for Turning Point USA. And so I thought I'd just give my 2 cents. Let's get into it. Bad Bunny's guests included Ricky Martin and Lady Gaga. Excellent choices, in my opinion. I liked it when he said, God bless America. He wasn't just talking about the United States, as most people are when they use that phrase. He actually mentioned all of the countries in North and South America, like Chile, Argentina, and many others. He also had dancers walking around holding up flags to represent the different countries. So by doing this, in my opinion, he was actually emphasizing a Pan-American scope. And the football used in the performance also had the words, "Together we are America," written on it. Please pay attention. His performance sent a powerful message of love, peace, and unity, basically saying that no one is any better than anyone else. Now, he concluded with the Spanish phrase, "We're still here." Please pay attention. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Kid Rock's performance with TPUSA was more than lackluster. It was a message of division, one that shows they're not tolerant to other people's beliefs, opinions, and ideas, and that only their thoughts and views seem to matter in this country. But, that's no shock, because that's pretty much how it's always been. Please pay attention. You see, the thing I find interesting about this country is that some people tend to shield their racism under the guise of patriotism. Please pay attention. Some conservative critics of Bad Bunny's have said that his performance, they didn't feel that it would be in alignment with America's values. I'm sorry, America has values? I don't think we do. Okay, I mean, some of the people in America have values, but America collectively as a whole, absolutely not. How do you have a whole convicted felon running the country and running it like a mafia boss, no less? Okay, please pay attention. Now, Trump had a whole lot to say when he critiqued Bad Bunny's performance. He basically said it was absolutely terrible, the worst ever, that it was an affront to the greatness of America and a slap in the face. That's funny because that's exactly how I would describe his presidency. Okay, please pay attention. Trump also criticized Bad Bunny for speaking Spanish, basically saying that nobody understands a word this guy's saying, and also said the dancing was inappropriate for children. Wow, I find that interesting, because let's talk about Kid Rock and what's appropriate or inappropriate for children, shall we? A 2001 movie called Osmosis Jones, and this is a children's movie, mind you, rated PG. It featured a song called Cool Daddy Cool by Kid Rock. And the lyrics in the song say, young ladies, I like them underage. Some call it statutory. I call it mandatory. Okay, so I'm sorry, bragging about statutory R wording is very inappropriate for a children's movie. Okay, Trump. But I'm sure he doesn't mind. Please pay attention. Did I say that Kid Rock's performance was more than lackluster? I'm sorry. I meant that it was actually less than lackluster. And by the way, the fact that Trump hated Bad Bunny's performance lets me know that it was absolutely fire. Please pay attention.
Okay, Trump needs to sit down somewhere. He's a whole hater. Okay, he is so mad and butthurt about it. And so here's the thing. We caught him watching it for one. Okay, he was literally watching the performance, which I thought was very interesting. Because what are you doing, Trump? Okay, I'm going to go to the clip, and it's a brief clip. It's about 15 seconds or so. I'm going to mute it in case they're playing music or what have you. But let's go to the footage. Trump talking about what's inappropriate for children. What's also is inappropriate for children is people R-wording them, torturing them, okay, and doing all sorts of nefarious and heinous, depraved acts to them, actually, and then, making them get impregnated and then taking their babies and killing them. Yeah, that's what's inappropriate for children, Trump. But I believe that you know all about that. That's just my opinion. Okay, like I said, this only proves how racist this country is. Talking about all American, and they wanted to have their own thing because it wasn't based on America's culture and all of this stuff. Well, America has no culture except for everything they stole. Okay, please miss me with it. Now, here's what Trump said. He called it a slap in the face to our country. President Donald Trump criticized Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance, his halftime show, called it absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. Okay, this is what he put on social media. He then said the show was a slap in the face to our country, saying there is nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show. It makes no sense. It's an affront to the greatness of America and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, and excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the U.S. and all over the world. Okay, that's what he said. Sounds mad to me. Okay. Your late OG Patrice, she already testified and she didn't tell a darn thing. She didn't give any information or receipts. Okay, that's what she didn't do, beloved. Now, with that all being said, let's continue on because now let's talk about Wayfair. Let's talk about Wayfair because you all remember, now the Wayfair story has come back up. Okay, you all may remember the Wayfair story. I know I reported on it in 2020 and about the missing children that were supposedly being trafficked, and everybody said it was a conspiracy theory and pretty much dismissed it. But now it's come back up with this whole Epstein debacle that's going on. So I'm going to go to an old arse video that I did back in the day. We're going to just listen to a few minutes of that. But then I'm going to show you how Jeffrey Epstein has connections to Wayfair. Who knew? But so now that really makes me think that they were absolutely trafficking. Okay, please. What the hell is Jeffrey Epstein, who was a whole billionaire, very wealthy, doing shopping at a discount furniture store where you have to put the pieces together? I'm sorry. Make that make sense. Okay, I don't believe it at all. At least I don't believe that he was purchasing furniture from them. Okay, I believe he was purchasing something. Darn sure wasn't furniture. Just my opinion. Okay.
Funny that the names of these cabinets are the same names of children who have been missing. So let me give you a couple of examples, and then I'm going to read to you from an article where Wayfair is trying to deny this, right? And they've said that it's absolutely not true, the things that are going on, and in fact saying that it's conspiracy theories. Okay? Now, a young girl, age 16, named Kyla Coleman from Cleveland came up missing January the 25th of 2020. Kyla, K-Y-L-A-H, okay? Wayfair posted a cabinet, a plain white cabinet called Kyla 5. And the name Kyla, that after the cabinet, is spelled K-Y-L-A-H, the same way as the young girl who's missing. It says the price of the cabinet is $12,099.99. Then there is a girl missing by the name of Annabelle Wilson. Now, she's been missing since May the 13th of 2020 from Hutchinson, Kansas, age 14. Now, yes, they do love that. And there's a shelf, or one of the cabinets is named the Annabelle 5 shelf storage cabinet. It is priced at $10,899.99. Then you have one named Yaritza Castro. Now, Yaritza came up missing June the 10th of 2020 from Harwington, Connecticut, age 16. Now, Wayfair posted a picture of a cabinet, a storage cabinet, it's the same exact cabinet also, people. It's the same plain white storage cabinets in every post, but with different names. Pay attention. Now, they posted a cabinet also named Yaritza, okay? And it is for sale, priced at $13,799.99. Then you have a young girl who was age 17, missing from Columbus, Ohio, missing since April the 30th of 2019. Her name is Samaya Moomin. Wayfair posted a shelf storage cabinet, the same exact one, named Samaya 5, and priced at $12,899.99. Now, is that a coincidence? I'm just saying, you be the judge. And here's the thing. The employees had staged a walkout in June. They had staged a walkout in protest of Wayfair because they said they found out they were supplying beds for sale to detention facilities for migrant children. And also they support ICE. Now, as some of you may know, ICE has lost, so they say, many thousands of children have come up missing under ICE's watch. They don't know where these children are, let them tell it. There's articles about all of that too. So now let me tell you what Wayfair has said, and also what some of the employees have said, right? This is what one of the former Wayfair employers said, or employees, I'm sorry. He said, I worked for Wayfair for almost a year. The boxes were so unnecessarily heavy. We had a certain door for ASAPs, meaning that they needed to be shipped right away within the last hour. And all of the boxes were about 100 to 150 pounds. Okay? Now, another person said, listen to this. They said, I moved to a different, or this is the same person, I'm sorry. He says, I moved to a different department later on. I switched to receiving, and when receiving, we'd have boxes that came up as missing child. He said, I didn't think anything of it until now. So they had boxes that were labeled missing children. Okay? But we're not supposed to be suspicious. And coincidentally, once this came out and people started talking about it online, what did they do? They took those posts down and said that they were mislabeled. So they took those cabinets with the names of those children down and claimed that they were mislabeled. Wayfair accused of trafficking children. They deny claims. It says Wayfair is under extreme pressure to explain the serious accusations of involvement in a sophisticated human trafficking scheme. Wayfair is under, okay, I read that part. Okay, it says their website lists exorbitantly priced furniture items paired with unique female names. Now, Reddit users were the first to draw attention to the fact that these were, in fact, the names of missing female children. And this story continued to pick up traction and make headlines ever since. While some consider this to be a conspiracy theory launched against one of the leaders in an online furniture distribution, the parallels drawn between their overpriced cabinets and the fact that they bear the names of missing children is hard to ignore. Newsweek reported a post on a social media website, Reddit, noted the high cost of the furniture, along with the fact that these items were identified by a female name as potential evidence of the purported scandal.
Okay, so I want you all to pay attention. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I thought was interesting. Hold on, beloved. Okay. Now, here's the thing I want you all to pay attention to. First off, during that time when all of that was being said, right, they actually had one of the girls that was missing, and I believe it was Kyla, if I'm not mistaken, but she came out and did an interview, not an interview, but she came out and did a video basically saying that she was not missing and saying that this was all crazy and this, that, and the third. Well, when that happened, some people just chopped it up as a conspiracy theory. But here's the thing, or shall I say chalked it up as a conspiracy theory. But here's the thing. She could have been coerced into making that video. Think about it. If she was absolutely being trafficked, okay, wouldn't they want to dispel the rumor, dispel that whole thing so no one would keep talking about it? And so I think that she was told to come out, okay, and do that video because she absolutely had to have been missing for someone to have a whole missing poster, okay, to have a whole missing poster with her face and information on it. All right? So I'm sorry, make that make sense. Now, Ace Thunder says, I'm suspicious. So nobody opened those boxes? Well, that's a good question, beloved. That is a very good question. Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Apparently not. Now, here's the thing. If these were the people whose jobs were package handling, okay, so they're the people that stock the boxes on the trucks, they would not have any business to open it. Okay, whether it was heavy or not, or they were suspicious or whatever, they wouldn't have any business to open it. I'm sure they would have gotten fired probably. But I wish somebody had opened it. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let me pull up something real quick because I want you all to pay attention. So, somebody, as I told you all, came up with a nefarious way to add all of Jeffrey Epstein's emails to a website where it looks like you're literally inside of his own emails, like you logged in. Okay, so we're going to get into that now. Soul Sister says human trafficking is real in plain sight. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Now, I'm going to go through all of these emails later. Not all of them, but I'm going to go through them later. But what I will say is there's stuff in here about Wayfair. Okay, there's a email in here where he was basically purchasing something for Woody Allen. Okay, it was supposed to be a gift, and he was purchasing it from Woody Allen at Wayfair. And then someone, I think it was Woody Allen's assistant, if I'm not mistaken, was basically talking about it was some chairs and that he really had to have them. The whole thing was suspicious because in the language within the email, it didn't sound anything like furniture. Okay, so let's just go to a couple of these. I'm going to go to 135 because I believe that's the one where they were asking about Trump doing Coca-Cola. And I'm not talking about the kind you drink. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can pull this one up. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, New York Times called me about you and Trump. Here's one. New York Times called me about you and Trump, also Hillary campaign. This was February 19th of 2016. Hollywood Reporter. What is this? Features Donald Trump conversations. Okay. Here it is right here. Says how plausible is idea that Trump is a real Coca-Cola user? Now, this is someone asking him this, LHS. And then Jeffrey Epstein replies, yes. Okay, so does Trump do illegal substances? Okay, does he do illegal substances? I have several questions. All right. So anyway, like I said, this makes it a whole lot easier to go through. Now, here's something else that was in there. Hold on, let me stop the share for a second. This is a woman named Karina. I think that's how you say it. Karina Shuliak. And she's supposedly Epstein's girlfriend. Okay, she's supposedly Epstein's girlfriend who basically was supposed to have inherited his estate after his demise. Now, this woman here is Peggy Siegel. Now, Peggy Siegel basically was dealing with Jeffrey Epstein. And then so she got her ties severed from Netflix and FX. They severed ties with Peggy Siegel, okay, the New York City publicist who got Jeffrey Epstein into A-list events and has been called the best way to make sure your movie gets an Oscar. I'm sorry, I must have cut part of that off, but that's what it said. The best way to make sure your movie gets an Oscar. Here's the thing though, Netflix and FX severed ties with her, but they have ties with Trump. Netflix took $1 million from Trump. Okay, he bought shares in Netflix. So if they thought she was problematic, I'm sorry, because she was getting Jeffrey Epstein into A-list events. Well, they don't think anything is wrong with Trump having been friends with him, okay, for such a lengthy time. Now I'm gonna type in Wayfair on this email list. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, there's a lot of promotional stuff coming to him from Wayfair. And why is that? Because he was getting things from them. Okay. Let's see what this is. Something about his address book. Okay, that's just a promotion. Anyway, like I said, I have to go through this, but I'm glad that somebody put it up like this so you can get to it a whole lot easier and get the information a lot quicker. But here's the thing, like I said, Jeffrey Epstein, what was he doing with Wayfair? It's all suspicious. And the stuff was very highly priced. Like there was a cabinet that was like $154,000. I thought this was a discount furniture store. And then when Wayfield was asked in the past about their prices being so high, they simply said, well, nobody buys it anyway. Don't y'all find that interesting? Don't y'all find that interesting? Because I sure do. Laverne says, I pray he doesn't stumble around that nuclear war button and touch it. Okay? Now, with that being said, let's go to this Falcons player, James Pierce Jr. Now, this man was arrested. No. Skip that. Before we go to that, we've got to talk about these Satanists. Okay, let's talk about these Satanists because a whole lot of satanic stuff going on in those Epstein files. But here's the thing. So a 14-year-old tied to neo-Yahtzee satanic group has been arrested. Okay, so now let's get into this. And the reason I thought this was so interesting is because, you know, when I told you all about these families that have these witches and they do satanic rituals and all of that, and they take the children to these rituals. So when I start hearing news reports about teenagers or even younger children who are in these who are into Satanism and who are talking about killing people and plotting and all this stuff, that really leads me to believe that there's some of those children that are going to those rituals. Okay, because if you all remember, years ago, back in 2020, I did a report about two 12-year-old girls, okay, who were plotting to kill classmates, okay, for a whole ritual. And they brought daggers to school. And they said when they were questioned about what their plot was, they said they were going to kill these people and then pour their blood, drain their blood into goblets and then drink it. Okay, do you all remember that? This is all so crazy, but let's continue.
First here, arrested on terrorism charges and child pornography charges. Good evening. I'm Paul Legrone.
And I'm Lauren St. Germain. Thanks for joining us. This is a story getting a lot of attention online.
Now, you all heard that. Also arrested on child porn. A 14-year-old. Yeah, I think they definitely are someone who's been going to these rituals. And I want you all to pay attention because remember I told you all years ago what that lady said. There's thousands of families, okay, full of these people all over and through the United States. Okay, and not just in the United States. I'm sure they're in other countries as well.
We've seen your comments and your questions on our social media pages. And today we've been working to learn more information for you.
Tampa Bay 28 reporter Mary O'Connell in Waimama tonight, where the sheriff revealed the details behind these charges, including links to neo-Nazi satanic groups.
I've been making calls and digging into the details of this case all day, and it's one that's alarmed law enforcement with a suspect who's just 14. We're sharing his name because of the nature of the charges, but no longer showing his mugshot because he's charged as a juvenile. Hillsborough County Sheriff Chad Chronister said Pagan Jr. was engaged in an online chat room designed for violent extremists.
In this online chat room, he discussed shooting up a church nearby his home located in Waimama. He didn't specify which church that was.
Chronister said the 14-year-old is linked to a neo-Nazi satanic group. The sheriff's office said they determined Pagan was possibly connected to an active HCSO child porn investigation.
Detective served a search warrant and realized that the computer is linked to this 14-year-old. Doing a cursory search, they discovered 14 extremely graphic, disturbing images where individuals were inflicting violence towards infants and toddlers.
Chronister said his dad had weapons locked in a safe that he didn't have access to.
But there was a firearm located and recovered in his dad's nightstand that he easily could have access to.
The teen now faces several charges. We knocked on the door to Pagan Jr.'s home in Waimama, and his family answered, but didn't want to make a statement.
There's two churches located in the nearby area of where his house is. We have directed patrol activities that are occurring, which means several times throughout the day, especially during worship service, we will make sure that we have a presence at these churches to deter him or anyone else who thought that they may inflict violence.
Sheriff Chronister told us he believes there will be more charges in this case. In Tampa, Mary O'Connell, Tampa Bay 28.
No, that is absolutely disturbing. Okay, for someone of that age. But hold on. So the story I was telling you about with the girls, let's go to that report. Because I still have the receipts. Y'all know I keep my receipts. Okay, so let's go to that story. This actually happened in 2018. Now, let me just say, this happened in 2018. And when I reported on this, the reason I did so is because I was connecting it to Hillary's emails. Okay, and now here we are again in 2026. And now it seems to be connected to Jeffrey Epstein's emails as well. See, this is why I tell you all that they're all in on it. It's not the left or the right, it's all of them. Okay, all of these nefarious demons and devils are into this sickness. Okay, so anyway, let's get into it.
Butcher knife, pizza cutter, scissors. These are some of the weapons an 11 and 12-year-old brought to Bartow Middle School on Tuesday to allegedly kill classmates.
They wanted to kill at least 15 people and were waiting in the bathroom for the opportunity to find smaller kids that they could overpower to be their victims.
Extra officers were already on campus after another student reported concerns on Monday. But police tell us the plot was foiled only after one of the girl's mother called in when a robocall said she skipped school.
This is horrific, and if I had children in school, I'd be scared, slapped to death.
Officers found them in the bathroom with a goblet on hand to reportedly drink their victim's blood.
I mean, how can this happen? You know, we're afraid, and she's afraid.
Kind of feel like maybe it might be a good idea just for some of these schools to maybe even put in metal detectors.
Messages appear to show the girls planned the murders and even to kill themselves when it was done.
I'm going to call them small children. They're only 11 and 12. Seriously sat down and plotted to do serious bodily harm to another student at school.
Y'all hear that? Just a darn shame. Okay, absolutely nefarious. Now, here's the thing. So the two girls at a middle school in Central Florida were waiting in a bathroom planning to overpower at least 15 smaller classmates to kill them with knives and drink their blood, according to authorities. The Bartow Middle School students were arrested Tuesday. Now, mind you, these kids are 11 and 12 years old. 11 and 12 years old, barely out of elementary into middle school, mind you. They've clearly been to these rituals. I'm willing to bet money. So anyway, the Bartow Middle School students were arrested Tuesday and charged with conspiracy to commit murder, possession of a weapon on school property, carrying a concealed weapon, and disruption of a school function. Okay, this is what Bartow Police Chief Joe Hall said in a news conference. Now, according to officials, 11 and 12-year-old girls said they were Satan worshipers, and they were going to drink the blood and eat the flesh of the students they killed. The girls then planned to kill themselves. I want you all to pay attention. Now, see, this is exactly what is being talked about in those Epstein files. But they want us to think that it's all just BS and that none of it's true. The plan was spoiled Tuesday after an automated call from the school notified one of the girl's parents that the daughter was missing from class. The district attorney has not indicated whether the girls will be tried as adults. Okay, CNN does not name minor suspects unless they are tried as adults. It's not clear if either of the girls has retained counsel, as neither has a court date set. Wow. So they say the 11-year-old spent the weekend at the 12. Now, here's how they hatched the plot. Okay, I want you all to pay attention because here's how they supposedly hatched the whole plot. They said the 11-year-old spent the weekend at the 12-year-old's home, and on Sunday, after a day of watching horror films, they devised a plot to kill several students at the middle school, according to police. Now, the girls decided they would attend their first period classes, then meet in a bathroom where they would wait for smaller students and overpower them. Okay, they did not want to attack larger students. Using knives tucked under their clothes, the plan was to stab their victims and cut their throats, says the police. Now, the preteens conducted internet searches on how to kill someone with a knife and what type of wound would cause their victims to bleed out the fastest. They did internet searches for this? How would they even know to look up such things? Do you all hear this? Let me continue. But they call our children thugs. Okay? Very interesting. Now, upon killing each victim, according to the report, they intended to stack her or him in the bathroom stall and wait for the next small student to enter the bathroom. After the students were dead, they would then cut them up and eat the parts of the dead flesh. So they didn't think anyone would walk into the bathroom and catch them doing any of this nefarious stuff. And how in the world do you plan to kill 15 people with a knife and a dagger? Okay. And then you're going to hide the body in the bathroom stall. But what about the blood? that's going to be all over the place. Okay, that's so ridiculous. Now, anyway, of course, they are 11 and 12, mind you. So anyway, after the students were dead, they would cut them up and eat their parts, eat parts of the dead flesh. And the report added that the girls aimed to kill between 15 and 25 students. I wonder where they got those numbers from. The girls then planned to kill themselves by stabbing, and they hoped that by killing their fellow students, they would go to hell. They would get to go to hell so they could be with Satan. Y'all hear this? So the assistant principal found the students in a bathroom after the girls' mothers called the school. Now, they were taken to the principal's office where the girls revealed 4 knives, scissors, and a pizza cutter under their clothes. 2 of the knives had blades of at least 5 to 6 inches. The girls also had a goblet from which to drink the blood. Detectives searched the girls' homes and found a hand-drawn map that included the phrase, "Go to killing bathroom," which marked the bathroom where they were found. Oh, so that was how they would know which bathroom to go to, I guess. One of the girls had also scrawled violent lyrics from Eminem and Florence plus the machine on a sheet of paper. Okay, one sheet of notebook paper also included a short poem. It said, "Trying hard to leave, stuck in an endless abyss, claw a way out now." So today is health lessons. Thanks, Satan. We're doing this in a bit. That's what the note said. Today is health lessons. Thanks, Satan. We're doing this in a bit. So a search of the girls' cell phones found Snapchat messages regarding the plot, according to police. The messages included, "We shouldn't have met each other, LOL. Now death is near, and I was thinking like stabbing ourselves in the necks." Additional police were already on campus because a student had notified a teacher of a rumored threat to students. Now, school staff responded quickly to the reports of suspicious behavior. Superintendent Jacqueline Boyd gave this information, and they said there will be counselors and extra police officers at the school all that week. Now, I find this all interesting, don't you all? Because like I said, 11 and 12, and this is what you're plotting. But here's the thing. Please pay attention to how the police said, okay, Muad'Dib said, pizza. Exactly. I noticed that too, beloved. I said a pizza cutter. But why would you use that? Why would you think that's going to be a good weapon? Reminds me of something else, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, with that all being said, that's all very interesting. But here's the thing that I noticed. When the police were talking about basically how they came up with this idea, they said that the girls had spent time on Sunday watching a horror movie. Right? So are we supposed to believe that they came up with this whole scheme because they watched a darn horror movie? No, that's not what happened. Okay, that's what the police said to I think to distract from the fact that they're whole Satanists. And I'm sure the police know because maybe some of them are even in it. Who knows? But at the end of the day, they know about these satanic cults. Okay, remember, there is one that is filled with police and ex-military and likely some previous or present military, okay, current. And it's called the Order of the 9 Angles. I told you all about it back in 2020 as well. So with that all being said, they were absolutely not thinking of doing this, plotting this, planning this, simply because they watched a darn horror movie. When they're sitting here talking about they're Satanists, well, okay, if they're Satanists, what the police should have been doing is asking, who are you Satanist with? What cult do you belong to? Who's the leader? How did you get into this? Okay. Have you ever done anything like this before or witnessed anything like this before? What made you come up with the idea? Now, maybe that is what they did, but they're not going to tell the public because they don't want us to know about all these covens of witches up and through the United States. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all been said, let's talk about James Pierce, because why are Black people out here throwing their lives away? Okay, now Shakur got arrested again the other day and was trying her damnedest to keep the police from locking her up. At one point, I wanted to just reach through the screen and say, girl, would you please stop begging? This man is going to take you to jail. All right. So here we have Falcons James Pierce Jr. arrested for domestic assault on his ex-girlfriend. And she plays for the WNBA. Her name is Rakia Jackson. Okay, so let's get into it. Falcons linebacker James Pierce Jr. was arrested Saturday following a domestic dispute with Sparks star Rakia Jackson, according to ESPN. Now, Pierce was charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, along with 1 count of aggravated stalking and fleeing or eluding police with lights and siren, according to jail records viewed by the Post. So police officers initially responded to an incident in Doral, Florida, following a reported dispute between a male and a female. Pierce crashed his car during a police chase. Okay, now, according to local 10 authorities, they say that Pierce, who's 23, by the way, fled the scene before crashing his vehicle and ultimately being arrested by police. Pierce was selected by the Falcons with the number 26 pick, okay, in the 2025 NFL draft. Okay, he was then booked into Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center, and his bond has yet to be set. I think he's out at this point. I do believe that he's out. Okay, they say we are aware of an incident involving James Pierce Jr. in Miami. Okay, this is what the Falcons said in a statement. We're in the process of gathering more information and will not have any further comment on an open legal matter at this time. I bet they don't. So Pierce moved to be one of the top defensive rookies this past NFL season, notching 10.5 sacks, okay, through 17 games. Okay, 10.5 sacks through 17 games. Now, Pierce wound up placing 3rd and voting for the 2025 Defensive Rookie of the Year behind Seahawks safety Nick Emanwari and Browns linebacker Carson Schwessinger, who took home the award. Now, Jackson was drafted by the Sparks. Okay, forget all of that. Okay, so I just find this all interesting. This man is out here literally crashing out, because another thing they say he did was that he crashed his car into his ex-girlfriend's car. NFL James Pierce Jr. crashed into WNBA star's car twice. Okay, some people just refuse to take no for an answer. Okay, let's go to this report. I mean, it is never worth it, people. If somebody doesn't want you, go find you somebody else, okay? It's never worth it. You're going to do something crazy, end up in jail or prison, and then they're going to move on with their life and be with somebody else anyway. So this never made any sense to me as to why people would just act a whole fool when someone dumps them.
His WNBA girlfriend and purposely.
Also developing here at noon, an NFL player is now out of jail after bonding out following his arrest over the weekend in Doral.
He is accused of stalking his WNBA girlfriend and purposely crashing into her car twice. Local 10's Lenny Sue Paul is live outside the jail in West Miami-Dade.
And she's telling us a little bit about what those charges are that the NFL player is now facing right now.
James Pierce Jr. facing a long list of felony charges, including battery, domestic violence. This all happening after a 3-year relationship recently came to an end. But Saturday morning, the situation took a violent turn. Atlanta Falcons star linebacker James Pierce Jr. bonding out of jail Sunday night with a white towel draped across his face, but quickly approached by 3 men in suits who picked him up. They appeared to exchange words with him, getting Pierce to remove the towel and uncover his face.
James, is there anything you want to address about the charges?
Do you want to Pierce dodging questions, walking off in a hurry with no comment to his domestic battery charge. The alleged victim is Los Angeles Sparks forward Rakia Jackson, a rising star in the WNBA. On Sunday, a judge asking questions while ordering him to stay away from her.
I have no care about what his employment is. Okay?
A newly released police report shedding light on what happened Saturday morning. Jackson noticing Pierce's Lamborghini SUV following her. The report goes on to say when stopped at an intersection, he got out of his vehicle and tried to open her driver's side door. According to police, she drove away, but Pierce continued speeding after her. She drove to the Doral Police Department for help, but he tried to stop her, at one point rear-ending her, then intentionally colliding head-on with her vehicle.
Do you have any need to return to pick up any personal belongings?
Judge, I would just leave everything there. Whatever's there, it can stay there. It's fine.
A police report just released this morning shares more details about the situation that unfolded Saturday morning. A woman reporting someone was following her in a white Lamborghini around Northwest 99th Avenue in Doral. The report says when officers arrived, they located Pierce standing outside the vehicle, but he didn't comply with officer commands. The linebacker lighting up social media over the weekend, but it's his actions off the field capturing national attention. From this police chase in Doral to this dramatic takedown, roughly half a dozen officers spotted wrangling with the 6'5", 245-pound player before his arrest. Now he's returning to Atlanta with a list of felony charges, including aggravated domestic battery, aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, and stalking.
Were you stalking her?
That police report also says that Rakia Jackson was trying to drive to the Doral Police Department, but at that point in time, Pierce slammed into her 2 different times. We reached out to the Atlanta Falcons for further comment. They say they do not have any more comments at this time. Reporting live in West Miami-Dade, Lenny Supal, Local 10 News.
Now, that is just an absolute shame. Okay? That is just an absolute shame that someone would throw away everything they've worked so hard for, because he's got numerous felonies. Listen, he's probably going to get kicked off the team, going to end up in prison. And that assault against the officer, yeah, that's not going to go well. And he signed a 4-year contract for $16.78 million, fully guaranteed rookie contract with the Atlanta Falcons in May of 2025, featuring an $8.8 million signing bonus. Okay, I am just so through with somebody being so stupid. Yes, he's an idiot. Why would you do that? I mean, like, if somebody doesn't want you, just go away and find you somebody else. It's not that serious. Anyway, with that all being said, I have one more story for you all, honey, because I almost forgot about this. And this is yet another murder plot by some nefarious teens. Okay, let's talk about it, because 2 Lake Brantley High School students plotted an attack for blood bond. Yeah, I find it all nefarious. Okay, I find it all nefarious. Let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen.
Right now at 5, these 2 Seminole County girls will stay locked up in jail after police say they almost carried out their plan to kill their classmate. The close call was foiled by a tip last month at Lake Brantley High School.
I'm sorry, but doesn't the one girl with the red hair almost look like Black China? She puts me in the mind of Black China, but let's continue. Or Angel White. That's what she calls herself now.
Right now, Channel 9's Nick Papantonis is live at the Seminole County Jail. And Nick, we not only know why investigators say they plan to do this, we also know what was in a note the so-called mastermind wrote. This is some scary stuff here.
And it's all part of why these girls will remain behind bars for a little while now. Is an apology note to the girls' parents that she told investigators she was in the middle of writing when the security guard pulled her out of class last month. The report says she would have finished that class writing a manifesto about the murder before slitting her classmate's throat. I know there's been something wrong with me since I was a little kid. I deserve what's coming for me, as I am disgusting, cruel, and useless. Police say Isabel Valdez, who also went by the name Jimmy, wrote this note seconds before she realized she would not be able to murder her Lake Brantley High School classmate last month. They say Valdez recruited Lois Lippert to help her kill the other student because she believed he resembled Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook school shooter who she obsessed over. For months, investigators say Valdez stalked the other student and took pictures of him while contemplating her plan. A report saying she planned to push the boy into a bathroom during second period, slit his throat, and drink his blood, all with the goal of bringing Lanza back to life. They say she brought a knife, trash bag.
Now, I want you all to pay attention to the similarities in the story that I just told you about. What? She was going to slit his throat and drink his blood too. Okay, these kids are weirdos, and who's raising them? Okay, who is raising them? That's right, OG Patrice. Psychos in the making, okay? This is all crazy. Let's continue.
And gloves to the school, and she and Lippert, who brought flowers, tried to sharpen the knife by running it against a pipe in the bathroom. Valdez's attorney didn't have much to say during her bond hearing Wednesday, or after a judge decided both girls should stay behind bars. My name is Nick. I'm a reporter with WFTV Channel 9. We left a message for Lippert's father, but haven't heard back. Valdez is 15, Lippert is 14. Prosecutors upgraded the charges to adult for both girls, telling us that they felt that the more aggressive tact and having more sentencing options and longer-term sentencing options was necessary here. Coming up at 6, we're going to go more into why Valdez was already on the FBI's radar when this happened. Live in Seminole County, Nick Papantonis, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
These two girls are being tried as adults after police say they plotted to kill a classmate at Lake Brantley High School. Fox 35's Manny Martinez has the new documents that explain how and why.
They are 14 and 15 years old, but they face attempted murder charges as adults. 15-year-old Isabel Valdez, who identifies as Jimmy, and 14-year-old Lois Lippert, best friends, according to Altamont Springs police. Investigators say Valdez planned to stab a Lake Brantley High School classmate last month in honor of Sandy Hook school shooter Adam Lanza. An arrest report shows she told investigators she heard voices telling her that if she killed the boy, she and Lanza would have a blood bond that would bring Lanza back to life. The arrest report says Valdez stated she planned to wait for the boy in the upstairs bathroom where she would pull him inside, adding she would then stab him in the stomach or cut his throat. Investigators say she told them she had flowers for him and would leave them for his funeral. Licensed psychotherapist Dr. Janie Lacey says the details are alarming.
When a teen reports hearing voices, for one, that stood out to me, and commanding them to harm others, that's a psychiatric emergency. It's not a phase that teenagers go through. That's something that requires immediate professional evaluation.
Lacey says the fascination with a school shooter is a troubling sign.
When what we see, a young person expresses a desire to connect with a mass murder, for example, they're telling us that they see violence as their identity.
Investigators were already familiar with Valdez. They say she called in multiple bogus threats to the high school in the days and weeks before, and police confiscated her phone. Police say Lippert helped her friend get items, even helped sharpen the knife the morning of the scheduled attack. Police got to the pair before any attack ever happened, after they acted on a tip they got the night before from another student.
The hero of this story is whoever made that anonymous tip. I mean, they saved lives, and we need our kids to know that speaking up isn't snitching.
After a court hearing inside the jail Wednesday afternoon, Valdez's attorney didn't have anything to say to our cameras when he walked out. The teen suspects, they are spending their nights here at the county lockup on no bond. In Seminole County, Manny Martinez, Fox 35 News.
Just a darn shame. Okay. Just a darn shame. And here's the thing. Yeah, she was making these calls to the school, swatting calls, and that's what got her, Isabel Valdez. That's the one I'm talking about. That's what got her on the FBI's radar. Okay? It says one of the teens involved in the Lake Brantley murder plot, Isabel Valdez, was already under investigation by the FBI in connection with multiple swatting calls made to the high school in the weeks prior to her arrest for the murder plot. Okay. And they're being charged with first-degree attempted premeditated murder. Okay, so this is not good for them, honey. What is wrong with these people? And then talking about they were going to be soulmates. It says, according to arrest reports, the murder plot was linked to Valdez's obsession with the Sandy Hook elementary school shooter, Adam Lanza. She believed killing a classmate who resembled Lanza would allow her to reunite with him as soulmates in a blood ritual. First of all, why would she want to be with someone who killed children? I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention. Why would she want to be a soulmate to someone who murdered children? Well, that's likely because she is in a whole satanic cult, and that's what she's been witnessing. People murdering and sacrificing children. That's what this all sounds like. I want you all to pay attention. You see, here's the thing. This stuff has always been going on. It's right before our eyes. And the thing is, when people see these news reports, they don't put the pieces of the puzzle together. But I have always done so because this stuff is not normal. It is not normal for 11 and 12-year-olds, 13 and 14 and 15-year-olds to be talking about murdering people, eating their flesh and drinking their blood. That is very demonic. That is very satanic. So they're around people that are telling them these things. Okay. And then she's saying that she heard voices in her head. I'm sure she did because they're connected and they have, created ties with demons more likely than not. Okay. From being engaged in such satanic practices. All right. I want y'all to pay attention. So that's right. So sister, choices are absolutely important. They absolutely are. And parents need to be talking to their kids. Okay. Because you all need to know, that there are some children like this that go to school with your children. You may not know what they're thinking. Let me tell you all a story real quick before I roll out of here. True story. I've told the story a couple of times before. So some of you've already heard it. But I have a friend that I went to high school with. We have been friends since I was 15 years old. She called me some years ago saying that her son, who was like 18 or 19 at the time, she said that her son had basically he started dating this Caucasian girl, and my friend didn't really like it because something about the whole thing was weird to her. And then she had a dream that the girl was a demon. Okay, she or was a witch. I'm sorry, not a demon, a witch. She had a dream that the girl was a witch. And in the dream, she said her son was leaving the girl's house and she was coming to pick him up. And her son had this thing wrapped around his head like tentacles from an octopus. And so that made her feel like there was some type of warning that the dream was giving her. So long story short, her son ends up meeting these friends of the girl, and they all dress in black clothing, like gothic style, with the black fingernails and the black lipstick and all that kind of crazy stuff. So they end up becoming friends with him, and they tell him that they're in a Christian rock group, but really they're in a whole satanic cult. Okay, that's the lie they told. And I want you all to pay attention because these Christian nationalists, are they really Christians? Some people say that they're Christians and they're not. They're satanic worshipers. Remember the video I showed you of the girl who said that her parents pretended to be used, but behind closed doors, they were worshiping Satan. So sometimes people use religion to just as a cover. Okay, and I'm not saying anyone or everyone does that. I'm just saying that some people absolutely will use religion as a cover. So they told him they were in a Christian rock band. They invited him one day to this house so they could play video games or whatever. When he got there, they gave him a drink and he all of a sudden started feeling queasy. And then he started feeling like he was tired or maybe was going to pass out. So he asked them if there was somewhere he could lie down because he wasn't feeling so well. So they told him to go down to the basement. So they take him down to the basement. He goes down there and passes out. When he wakes up, I don't know how much time later, but when he finally woke up, he was in complete darkness and his rear end was very sore, according to him. So when he cut on the lights, he saw that there were several funnels, several funnels in the room on the floor, as well as alcohol. And also when he stood up, he said something ran down his legs or from his rear. Come to find out, they had using the funnels to put alcohol up his rear end. Okay, that's supposed to be a quick way to intoxicate people or something like that. But they all had also, there was 5 of them, they had also R-worded him. They took him to Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, they took him to Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, my friend, he didn't come and tell her this right away, or he didn't really talk about what had happened, but he started acting real strange. He all of a sudden, days or maybe a couple of weeks later, started doing demonic stuff, started drawing like demonic pictures, started just doing weird things that just were not like his normal behavior. And it concerned her so much that she took him to a psychiatrist. Well, after his first session, the psychiatrist came and told my friend, she said, I'm not supposed to tell you this due to patient-client confidentiality, but your son revealed to me that he was taken to Sodom and Gomorrah by all 5 of those guys. Now, let me say this. I left this part out. My friend did say that before she took him to the psychiatrist. I forgot. He did tell her that he'd been taken to Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, he said one of them did it. But the psychiatrist told her that it wasn't one of them, it was all of them. And the son also said that they threatened him and told him that they have very powerful parents and that if he even thinks of saying anything to try to get them arrested or whatever, they would have his entire family killed. Okay, so these things actually happen. Okay, probably even on a regular basis. We just don't hear about all of the things. Okay, and sometimes people just don't come forward and tell. All right, I want you all to pay attention. So be careful. And this is one reason. Listening to these children's stories about murder plots, drinking blood, eating flesh, and all this sick stuff, this is one reason why I promote homeschooling. Okay, why I promote homeschooling your children. My youngest son, I homeschooled him from 9th grade until he graduated. Okay, so please pay attention. With that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Now, I may come back later today. If I do, it'll likely be around between 7 and 7:30. Okay, so until next time, beloveds, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got